At the southern tip of the Indian subcontinent, the Bay of Bengal, the Arabian Sea, and the Indian Ocean collide. Every year, millions of pilgrims travel here to visit Kanyakumari, a temple dedicated to a virgin goddess. Most of these visitors arrive without ever connecting this site to the story of Rama. Popular culture usually defines the Ramayana through a single linear arc. A prince is exiled, a queen is abducted, and a war is won. This narrow focus on the narrative's greatest hits has stranded regional traditions, leaving them isolated from the epic they originally belonged to. When the story is treated as a finished historical loop, these lived connections to the landscape begin to disappear. The Ananda Ramayana actively resists this narrowing of the story. It functions as a sprawling devotional treasury, gathering these vanished regional traditions from across the subcontinent to fulfill a single specific purpose: the generation of Ananda, or pure spiritual bliss. The text's own structure reflects this. As this diagram shows, the work is built as a nested conversation. Lord Shiva speaks to the goddess Parvati, but within that frame, he introduces a second dialogue between two sages, Ramadasa and his disciple Vishnudasa. This layered conversational architecture suggests that the epic is not a static historical record. It is a living body of wisdom, designed to be expanded and reflected upon across generations of teachers and students. To build deep devotion, the text first demands that the practitioner see the familiar supporting characters in a new light, revealing the unseen trials that define their lives. Take Rama's father, King Dasharatha. In this version of the story, his attempt to rescue his future wife Kausalya results in the total destruction of his army. Dasharatha survives only by clinging to a single piece of driftwood, drifting alone across the open ocean for days without food or hope of rescue. This solitary ordeal only ends when he washes ashore on the very island where Kausalya is held. Arriving sages perform their wedding immediately, framing their union as a reward for his individual endurance and sacrifice. The text grants Sita this same spiritual independence. In the Yatra she is shown performing her own dedicated worship of the river Ganga, engaging in sacred rituals that exist entirely outside her role as a wife or mother. Documenting these hidden acts of endurance and personal worship establishes these figures as foundational agents of the story. They are defined by their own direct relationships with the divine. The text further sustains this devotion by anchoring the epic's narrative into the actual physical landscape of India and the domestic ideals of a righteous society. This is why the story of Kanyakumari is included. By connecting the eternal penance of the virgin goddess to Rama's own travels, the text transforms a geographic landmark into a critical narrative event, making pilgrimage a form of participation in the story itself. The text also focuses intensely on the Yajna, providing a granular, step-by-step account of the Ashwamedha sacrifice. It documents the specific divine names and Vedic rituals Rama utilized to consecrate his reign. Similarly, the Vivaha documents the marriages and family lineages across the entire Ikshwaku dynasty in exhaustive detail. These focuses on ritual precision and dynastic continuity represent the sustaining fabric of Ram Raja, the ideal of righteous governance. By dwelling on these civic and familial details, the text frames the maintenance of an orderly, righteous society as a primary act of devotion. Eventually, the text moves beyond storytelling and begins providing the practitioner with direct spiritual tools. In the Manohara Kanda, Rama's role shifts. He is no longer just the dutiful son. He acts as a spiritual teacher, delivering profound philosophical instruction directly to his three mothers. The text even incorporates the Chatushloki Bhagavata, a distillation of the massive Bhagavata Purana, into just 4 verses. This inclusion proves that the Ananda Ramayana gathers essential wisdom from across the entire breadth of the Vaishnava tradition. This transition into practice culminates in the Kavachas, or spiritual armor, protective formulas used by devotees in their daily lives. The devotee visualizes specific forms of Rama protecting different regions of their body. Epithets like Raghava guard the head and neck, constructing a complete defensive shield to ward off worldly danger and mitigate karmic consequences. These rituals transform the epic into an active spiritual technology, moving it from a passive narrative to an impenetrable defense for the soul. Despite its massive scale, the text reaches a sudden conclusion. After the 3,000 verses of the Manahara Kanda, the final book, the Purana Kanda, arrives with shocking brevity, containing only 500 verses. This finale documents Rama installing his son Kusha on the throne before he walks into the Saireyu River. This act marks the end of his earthly incarnation. Rama returns fully to his eternal, divine form as Vishnu in the heavenly abode of Vaikuntha. This abrupt ending to such an expansive encyclopedia of stories and rituals carries a specific theological weight. The Ananda Ramayana teaches that the earthly complexity of pilgrimages and lineages is a temporary expression of an eternal divine reality. It positions the epic as a living, ongoing connection to that reality, a story that remains open to anyone seeking the bliss its name promises.